In a town where secrets echo louder than footsteps, a quiet boy named Ivan discovers that his reflection isn't his own. Every morning, it smiles back, mocking him, while he stands frozen with a frown. What begins as a strange anomaly quickly unravels into a dark mystery buried within his family's history. As Ivan digs deeper, he uncovers a tragic truth that blurs the line between reality and memory, revealing a twist that will leave hearts pounding and minds reeling. In the end, the reflection isn't just a mystery to be solved. It's a part of him he never wanted to face. Before we jump into this incredible story, drop a comment, let us know where you're watching from. And if you enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe for more. Ivan never liked mirrors. Not because of superstition or vanity, but because they always felt off. He would brush his teeth, wash his face, and try to avoid making eye contact with the glass. But on the morning of his 14th birthday, something changed. As the steam from his shower cleared, Ivan caught a glimpse of himself, only the reflection wasn't frowning like he was. It smiled. Not a broad grin, not sinister, but unsettlingly calm. He froze, toothbrush halfway to his mouth, heart thudding. Blinking rapidly, he stared, waiting for it to match him. It didn't. For a split second, he thought it must have been his imagination. A trick of the light, maybe. But the reflection winked. Ivan dropped the brush. "Mom," he called, his voice cracked with panic. His mother, Oria, rushed in, towel in hand. "What? What happened?" But by the time she looked, the mirror showed nothing but a frightened, wide-eyed boy. His mother sighed, assuming it was just nerves. After all, Ivan had always been a bit different. Quiet, observant, and too old for his age, the other kids called him Ghost Boy. Oria tried to comfort him with stories of how people sometimes see what they feel, not what is. But Ivan knew better. That wasn't just a feeling, it was a face that moved on its own. That evening, after Oria left for her night shift at the clinic, Ivan stood in front of the mirror again, holding a flashlight. He'd read somewhere that mirrors are portals or memories or lies. He clicked the flashlight on, aiming it at the glass. "Who are you?" he whispered. "Nothing." His reflection stood like him. But as he turned to leave, the reflection didn't. It stayed. Ivan screamed. His neighbor, an elderly man named Welkrin, came over after hearing the commotion. "Mirrors don't lie," Welkrin said, eyes squinting. "They just show what we've buried." That night, Ivan couldn't sleep. The reflection had moved again. And this time, it wasn't alone. The second face appeared behind it, blurred, child-sized, peering over the reflection's shoulder. But there was no one behind Ivan. He ran out of the room and slammed the door, heart racing, lungs shallow. He didn't tell Oria this time. He began researching mirror myths, folklore, anything he could find. Most of it was nonsense, but one entry caught his eye. The smiling reflection, a soul trapped by grief, appearing to those who've forgotten. Ivan hadn't forgotten anything, had he? The thought rattled him. Over the next few days, he avoided mirrors entirely. But the reflection didn't stop. It appeared on polished surfaces, dark windows, even the back of his phone screen. Always smiling. Always knowing. During class, he tried to ask his history teacher, Merrick, about folklore, under the guise of a project. Merrick stiffened when he mentioned mirrors. "There are some things you don't summon with curiosity," he said. "Leave reflections alone." That only made Ivan more determined. He began drawing what he saw, two figures, blurry but distinct. As he sketched, memories began to bleed through, of a girl with pigtails, of laughter, and then silence. He didn't know her name, but somehow his heart did. One evening, Oria came home with a birthday gift, a small wooden box she found in the attic. "Thought it was time you had it," she said. Inside was a cracked photo frame, an old ribbon, and a hospital band. The name read, Elia Thale. Ivan stared. "Who's Elia?" Oria froze, her fingers curling slightly. "Your sister," she said slowly. "She died before you were born." The world around Ivan blurred. "You never told me I had a sister." Oria wiped a tear from her cheek. "We couldn't. We weren't ready. And you were born so soon after." That night, he looked into the mirror again. And now, the reflection's smile made sense. It wasn't mocking, it was mourning. Elia had been trapped, echoing through Ivan's reflection all these years, waiting to be seen. Ivan pressed his hand to the glass. "I remember you," he whispered. The reflection smiled wider, and for the first time, so did he. But then it changed. The girl behind the reflection stepped forward and screamed. A blood-curdling, silent scream that shook the mirror's frame. The light bulb above flickered. Ivan fell backward. This wasn't just memory. This was unfinished grief. And it wasn't just Alaya. The next day, Ivan confronted Oria. What really happened to Alaya? She hesitated, but the shadows in her eyes betrayed a deeper pain. There was an accident, she said softly. In the bathtub. I left the room for just a second. Her voice broke. When I came back, she was gone. But the death certificate in the wooden box had a different cause. Unknown trauma, foul play suspected. Ivan stared at the paper, then at his mother. You lied. Oria grabbed his hand. No, I protected you. That house, it took her. That mirror was the first thing to crack. I shouldn't have brought it with us. Ivan reeled. The mirror had followed them through every move, every city, every home. It wasn't grief, he whispered. It was guilt. That night, Ivan approached the mirror with the hospital band in one hand and the cracked photo in the other. I see you, he said to Alaya's image. The mirror fogged. Then it split down the middle with a sound like a gasp. From within, Alaya stepped forward, her face not smiling, not screaming, but peaceful. Behind her, another form moved. Taller. Hidden in the dark. Watching. The tall figure was a man, or the shape of one. Shadowed, with hollow eyes that glowed faintly red. It didn't speak. It just hovered behind Alaya. She turned, looked at it, and then back at Ivan. He's the one, she whispered. The one who came when Mom was gone. Ivan's blood went cold. What do you mean? The figure stepped closer, the mirror trembling. Then Ivan remembered the stories of the neighbor, Welkrin. He was always nearby, always the first to show up. Mirrors don't lie, he had said. And now Ivan saw his face inside the figure. Warped. Hiding in plain sight all these years. You hurt her, Ivan said. The reflection of Welkrin in the glass sneered. She was alone. No one was supposed to remember. Ivan reached into the box, pulled out the ribbon, Alaya's, and held it against the mirror. The reflection recoiled. This house didn't take her, Ivan said. You did. Oria entered the room just as the mirror began to crack further, shards shimmering with truth. She saw Welkrin's reflection. She screamed. I knew it, she sobbed. But they said it was grief. That I imagined it. The mirror exploded outward, and the room was flooded with cold. Oria pulled Ivan close as the specter of Welkrin writhed in the shards on the floor, his shadow melting. Alaya stood between them, glowing faintly. Let me go, she said. Ivan held her gaze. You're not forgotten anymore. A gust of warm air filled the room, and Alaya began to fade, first the hands, then the eyes, then the smile. But the warmth remained. The shards stilled. The room was quiet. Later that night, Oria sat at the edge of Ivan's bed. I thought if we moved, changed names, buried the past, she said, her voice soft. But we only buried her deeper. Ivan nodded, holding the ribbon. She wasn't angry, just waiting. The next morning, the mirror was gone. Oria had taken it outside, wrapped in sheets, and buried it under the oldest tree in the yard. A gravestone followed 2 days later. Alaya Thale, it read. Not forgotten. And then the letters below, reflections tell the truth, if you're brave enough to look. Ivan visited it often, sometimes smiling. But never alone. He knew she'd always be near. But now she didn't have to scream. Weeks passed. The strange occurrences stopped. No more winks. No more smiles that didn't belong. But Ivan had changed. He started sketching more, faces, emotions, memories, and sharing them online. Others responded. I see them too, one message read. Mine doesn't match either. It wasn't just him. Ivan dug deeper, starting a quiet forum called Glass Lines, a safe place where people talked about reflections, grief, and memory. Some stories were harmless, others terrifying, but he answered every one. He had become something of a guide, a bridge between what people buried and what they feared to remember. Meanwhile, Welkrin's house remained locked. Empty. No one asked questions. No one wanted answers. But at night, if you passed too close, you could feel it, that wrongness. As though the house still remembered. Ivan never went back. He didn't need to. He had seen the truth, named it, and survived it. That was enough. His story, once hidden behind a smile that wasn't his, now lived in others, shared, whispered, remembered. That's what stories do. They free what reflections try to keep. On the anniversary of Alaya's death, Ivan lit a candle by the tree. The flame danced gently, casting shadows across the stone. Oria stood beside him, hand on his shoulder. She would have been 16, she whispered. Ivan nodded. She is. He stepped back, looking at the tree's trunk. For a moment, he swore he saw her smile in the bark's curves. Not the eerie smile from the mirror. A real one. Warm. Safe. He didn't need to fear mirrors anymore. He knew who he was. More importantly, he knew who she had been. That night, back in his room, he passed the hallway mirror without a glance. But just before stepping away, he paused. Looked. His reflection stared back. Still. True. Matching. And yet, for just a moment, a smile flickered across the glass. Not his, not hers, but theirs. A shared peace. Then it was gone. He turned off the light. Behind him, the mirror stayed dark. Silent. Empty. Just a mirror again. For now. But stories, like mirrors, have a way of remembering. Months later, as Iven uploaded a new story to Glasslines, he received a message from someone in a town he'd never heard of. The message was just one sentence. My brother's reflection doesn't follow him anymore. Iven froze. Another child. Another mirror. Another silence hiding a scream. He didn't reply immediately. Instead, he looked out the window at the tree, bathed in silver moonlight. Then back at the message. He took a breath. Began typing. Tell me everything. The story wasn't over. Not really. It had only just begun. Iven spent the next week exchanging messages with the child's older sister, a girl named Nyla who lived in a coastal town surrounded by cliffs and fog. Her brother, Khalif, had stopped speaking, and every time he passed a mirror, his reflection turned its back on him. Nyla sent a video. Iven watched as the boy stood in front of a hallway mirror, and sure enough, his reflection slowly turned around, facing the other way. Iven's skin prickled. He recognized the stillness, the eerie disconnect. It wasn't just trauma, it was tethered memory. Iven remembered Alaya's scream, the shadow behind her, and how the reflection had once been a warning. Now it was a cry for help. He wrote to Nyla. Has anything been buried in your family? Something painful, something no one talks about. The response came the next morning. Our older brother disappeared when we were little. No one says his name. I found a drawing of him once in a locked drawer, but my parents burned it. Iven's heart sank. The pattern was repeating, forgotten children, silenced pain, mirrors echoing the unspeakable. He didn't tell Nyla everything, but he offered her what he could. Understanding, questions to ask, signs to look for. He even mailed her Alaya's ribbon with a note. This helped me remember. Maybe it'll help him too. A week later, Nyla sent a photo. Khalif was smiling genuinely. The mirror behind him? Empty, calm. Balanced. Iven closed his laptop, tears in his eyes. Sometimes you don't fix the past. You just name it. And sometimes that's enough. The next evening, Iven walked alone through the woods behind his house, the air warm with coming summer. He reached the tree and sat beneath it, watching the sky change colors. The ground was quiet. Still. He didn't bring candles or ribbons or questions this time. Just silence. Just peace. A gentle breeze brushed his face. No voices. No reflections. No more screams. Iven leaned against the bark, closed his eyes, and whispered, "Thank you." For the first time in years, he didn't feel watched. He felt seen. The leaves rustled in reply, soft as a lullaby. Somewhere, in stories yet untold, more mirrors waited. But not today. Today, Iven was just a boy in the sun, remembering love. If this story stirred something in you, if you've ever felt the chill of something unspoken, or the warmth of a memory finally understood, then you know how powerful a single truth can be. A boy's reflection smiled at him, but he wasn't smiling reminds us that sometimes healing begins when we dare to look deeper, beyond the mirror, beyond the silence, and into the heart of what we've buried. There are so many out there carrying invisible stories. Maybe this one gives them permission to speak. If this journey moved you, don't let it stop here. Like to show your support. Comment with your thoughts. What part stayed with you the most? Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe to Untold Files for more hauntingly beautiful tales that linger long after the screen fades to black.